All right, let's talk about the Batman. I saw this 3-hour extravaganza, and I know some people complain about 3-hour films. Well, I don't have a problem. You're going to watch a 4-hour college football game with, 10-minute replay processes. I don't have a problem with a little character development, a little plot development. As long as it doesn't drag, and to me, this movie never dragged. It had, if you're going to reboot with another Batman, and it's like Batman number 3 in a relatively short amount of time, 10 years, as Christian Bale wrapped up the Dark Knight trilogy, and then you had Ben Affleck, who, it's not origin story Batman. You're kind of catching, Batman in his late career in those Batman v Superman and, the Justice League movie. Different bird. So, the Batman, I didn't know what to think. Robert Pattinson, I just didn't really buy him as Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne is a man open up to interpretation, and certainly a different man at different stages of his life. So, first of this movie was shot well. They took advantage of the legendary Tribune Tower. So even though you see the Empire State Building passed off as Gotham, once again, Chicago shines as a setting for a Batman movie, like The Dark Knight. It was well done. So Pattinson, let's break it down. Pattinson is Christian Bale will be my favorite Batman. There's no doubt about that. I was always mystified that people complained that Batman's voice was different than Bruce Wayne. Well, duh. That's one of the funniest things about the Batman TV series. Well, let's see here. I'm Commissioner Gordon, and I talk to Bruce Wayne all the time, and I talk to Batman all the time. Never thought that their voices sounded similar. Like even, Superman and Clark Kent, the voice can be a little similar, but he puts on a little machismo, a little, icing on the cinnamon roll, if you will. Pattinson plays a dark, really not interested in the appearances of Bruce Wayne. I mean, Bale was one step away from the old, rich man by day, vigilante by night. And Pattinson takes it to the next level. Just not interested in the Bruce Wayne life at all. Haunted. And to me, the Bruce Wayne origin story was fresh. Pattinson does some magical things with his eyes. He does incredible acting with his eyes. The old cape and cowl can be pretty limiting as far as showing emotion. Well, the guy, and again, it's a Brit for you. The Brits know how to act like nobody else on this planet. He's got expressive eyes, and his eyes speak many words in this movie. The reinvention of the Riddler, this take on the Riddler, it was so fresh. I wasn't ready for a guy to, jump out in lime green yoga pants and make a bunch of noise, and jumping around like Frank Gorshin or something. I think we definitely wanted a darker Riddler, and holy cow, we got it. Great take on the Riddler. A different take on the Penguin. The Penguin really didn't dominate the movie. It seemed like he was set up for future movies. And Falcone, John Turturro, I hope I'm saying that right, off the top of my head, he was great. But no, Pattinson did well, and this is a Batman with, I guess, maybe a little more emotional range. And he finds like a little Bruce Wayne to relate to. I'll let the movie show that to you. Zoe Kravitz, she has some unmistakable eyes, that's for sure. She was interesting. It wasn't the usual Catwoman. If you want something a little fresh, you got it. she hasn't gone all in Catwoman yet at this point. But again, it's kind of Batman. We know the origin story. It's a little bit of an origin story for her, a little more than we're used to. She's great. Jeffrey Wright, great as Commissioner Gordon. I mean, doesn't meet the standard of the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, you just had one of the best with Gary. But, pretty good choices on the acting front. The set was great. The sound was great. The mystique of Batman was certainly a great part of it, especially the opening of the movie. He has this walk when he comes up to one of the perps, so to speak, that reminds you of a master gunslinger in a Western. I think that you really appreciate. And I love the Batmobile. At first glance, I thought, I wanted something a little more fancy, a little more batty, but it's really a cool take on the Batmobile, where it's, something I appreciated about the Dark Knight trilogy. Things were a little more subtle. You could kind of see Bruce Wayne in that kind of militarized kind of Batmobile, as opposed to something where it was just made to look like a big celebration of bats at a car show. So this has just got that whole muscle car feel. It's got a sound. It's got a feel. It's good stuff. But I thought it was a good plot. It had its fair share of surprises. Paul Dano was great as the Riddler. It was well done, and the tension. I mean, this is another deal where they do a great job of coaching extras, and that to me is an art form, because you go to some movies where it's just like, okay, you extras do your thing, I'll turn in the background. And there's that kind of Cecil B. DeMille effect where, those epic movies like the Bible or whatever they did in the past, where the extras almost look like they were well-trained actors. This movie has a little bit of that element where you're really sweating the small stuff. And if you're into the true crime thing, the crime scenes aren't just like some rushed, I can't believe this happened. No, it's got that gritty true crime feel, like some of the comic books, I understand, have that. But to me, it moved nicely. I like the music. It's not Hans Zimmer level, but I thought the main score was interesting. I thought the Nirvana makes it onto the soundtrack, and it just gives the movie a different feel. But I think you'll like it. I think it's well done, and I would still call Chris Nolan's Dark Knight the gold standard. But this, I would put this over Batman Begins, and the original Batman with Tim Burton. I've always been a little conflicted. I really enjoyed it. I love Jack Nicholson. It was enjoyable. Sometimes it was a little too goofy for its own good. But I liked it. I didn't think that much of Batman Returns. So this is a pretty good start, and it's got great potential. So, there's some adjustments to the times. So, they're definitely talking to the 20-year-olds out there. So that will hit a nerve and certainly will please some. And I mean, not in a big way, but there's definitely an effort to give Batman a youth movement and keep the Batman chain rolling, which you have to do. And we're talking about some real subtle things. Anyway, that is a wrap. I enjoyed it. I'd give it 4.5 out of 5. Put up the bat signal, baby. The theaters have had a tough couple of years, and it's like they put out the bat signal, and Batman has come to the rescue.